Hey everybody, what's up? Oh my gosh, it has been a while since I've done a live video. I'm Dr. Amanda Noelle, Twin Flame Alchemist. So about 2012, during the shift, I started this YouTube channel. Actually, it was hosted at a different uh, place. The channel got taken down. Long story short, I have been the first Twin Flame YouTuber. And how should I say this? I've been trying to get out of the twin flame niche for years because it's so boxing in, it's so misconstrued. So many people have dogmas and theories, and at the same time, my heart loves everything about twin flames. I love the conspiracy, the contrast, the polarity, the confusion. I love the metaphors of the feminine pulling one way and the masculine pulling another, of heaven, this perfect ideal relationship that we could be in with God, with our partner, the sacred union, as well as, let's all face it, if you are on the path to your twin flame, if you're in a twin flame journey with your beloved, it's not perfect. It's not rainbows and butterflies. It can bring up a lot of our stuff. And so I'm here today to talk about the 2024 predictions. Pretty much most years I've done a forecast and I have wonderful accuracy. If you look back, sometimes I'll look back and be like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. Freaks me out sometimes. So I'm working with my higher self with guidance, channeled wisdom. You can do this yourself. I'm also looking at patterns. And as someone who has had her ear to the ground for many years regarding twin flames and seeing trends and patterns, this is going to be a very exciting year. And I think my predictions will be fun to look back at and see what really happens. So post in the comments below what, maybe a few things, what you're excited to have happen for you and for beloveds out there, for the world out there. Second, also, if you want to make any forecasts for what you're feeling is going to happen in the coming year. So I'm going to give you the three predictions, and I'll go from kind of three to one, the one being the most important. So the first one is that we are moving into a space with more flow and flexibility. So in the past, somehow we got these theories about their 144,000 twin flames. This was, written in different prophetic texts or passed down from certain lineages. And there's been a lot of this like scientific or maybe even theoretical spiritual dogma that's like, this is the right way to be a twin flame. You should have these signs and these symptoms and these are the phases. And I feel like we've been doing a lot of fitting ourselves into boxes and, at the expense of maybe cutting off an arm or trying to force a relationship to fit into something. And I feel like so many people are waking up. Unfortunately, not everybody is having the awakenings, but so many people are waking up to, we don't have to subscribe to any stigmas or standards that any outside external gurus are telling us that we have to be or do to achieve this type of union. I feel like we're moving from sort of a forced, fractured look at twin flames into something that's much more organic and real, and what is coming from more internal wisdom, what's been learned from trying things on. So I feel like we're collectively moving also in this kind of theme of flow and fluidity and flexibility, that we're going more inward. Whereas in the past, there might be obsessive tarot card reading. And, we all know that twin flame tarot card readers have blown up. There's like multi-million dollar industry in that. And there's nothing wrong with tarot cards. And it's a beautiful art form. And probably many, many people have gotten huge results from having these tools. And I feel like collectively, we are looking at, instead of how can the cards give us the answers, how can we get power from the cards, we're looking at how is my wisdom showing up in the way that I'm reading, interpreting the cards. So a lot of people are studying for themselves how to interpret. And to do that, we have to be willing to access our whole. So that's where more of us are going to be stepping into things like somatic healing, feeling into our soma, our bodies, feeling into places where maybe we were pulling the tarot cards of like, it has to be my twin flame, or I have to get clarity, or how do I get in my mind to get the right answer? Instead, there's going to be more of this like internal knowing, listening. And this is an aspect of the divine feminine that is really rising up. Some people are going to love it, and some people are going to have a really hard time, because those of us who have been taught that the school systems, or that the standard way of learning, is this mental, intellectual, masculine minded, structured way of learning, or living up to understanding, that can be very uncomfortable. We've been smashed with getting information shoved in, and then we have these tests that we had to take in school. So while we might think, oh, that's different than relationships, we all have this traumatized child that wants to learn in a real holistic way. That's like, does this resonate with me? Do I feel it in my body? Am I able to take deep breaths and know, is this healthy for me? Is this a healthy food for me to eat? Is this a healthy relationship for me to have? Is this dynamic with my person coming from my inner wounding? Is this my stuff? So we've been very disconnected from who we ultimately are. And many of us have worked really hard in the previous decade, or many decades, or maybe the previous months, depending on when your awakening really started. And we're going like, like, where is me? Where is my home? So they say twin flames is about coming home. One of the classic telltale signs, is this your twin flame? Is you feel like home. And I would like to almost reverse that and say, you're ready to be in a twin flame union when you're already home. And that means in our bodies, we're able to handle the emotions there, the feelings there, the stuck energy, the issues in our tissues, the old trauma patterns and wounds. And a lot of people have not done embodiment work and are missing out, have not done breath work, have not done things like movement therapies, yoga. I myself recently, only in the last 5 years, have started doing deep embodiment practices. And I realized all the power yoga I was doing was just re-infiltrating into my system, into my mind, that I had to live up to a standard. I had to force a pose. I had to structure myself around some ideal. And instead, I'm coming much more into like, what does my body want to do now? And I've hired embodiment coaches, or gone to movement therapy classes, or worked with counselors. I'm getting certified. I have a couple more weeks in my somatic trauma healing certification program, which I'm thrilled that I've been privileged to enough to take, because ultimately working with clients in this twin flame arena, a lot of us are looking to fill holes in our wholeness. Like, we're ultimately perfect whole beings, and there's parts of us that are trying to cut the corners and not fully come back into who we are as wounded children, as having gone through certain memories. So I think a lot of 2024 is going to be not necessarily psychoanalyzing, but I feel like it's actually filling in those quote unquote holes in our body, or rips in our auric field, and it's going to be much more embodied and grounded. So this flow and flexibility is literally the tissues becoming more flexible. So if you have a practice that you can stick to, or explore new practices you can try on to get the toxins out of the tissues, whether it's qigong, whether it's there's different kind of cupping things that you can pull the blood out of. My husband and I have been doing some really interesting stuff with this slapper activator. We're like looking so bruised, but it's helping us release all of this old stagnant energy and old blood. So there's going to be a lot of literal clearing of issues in our tissues in 2024 that's going to help us connect and unite with our beloveds and create that integration within ourselves. So the second sign, or the second prediction, in 2024 is that we're going to be following our desires a lot more. And that's going to be so helpful instead of dogma. So I wrote desire versus dogma. In the past, there were these bloggers that would say, these are the signs of twin flames. I've created some videos. one of my most popular videos that blew up was the 7 signs of being a twin flame. And a lot of the signs I was sharing were just things that I was seeing in people, and they were very kind of general, like you're passionate about love and healing yourself and you have this calling. But some of the twin flame so-called gurus out there who showed up in the industry, making millions of dollars out of telling people, here's what you need to do. And some of these things were actually quite traumatizing, quite harmful to the person in their body, mind, and spirit. And you can see, Netflix, escaping twin flames, people finally divulging the trauma that's been done, and some people escaping the twin flames, cults that have come out of a very wounded society of people that are looking for love, looking for answers, and that can be very impressionable and be prey to these dark leaders. So I feel like the secret is stepping into our desires instead of like, what does it mean to have a twin flame? What are the signs? What is this theory? Like this thing that I want? It's actually cutting really deep into the body and asking, what do I desire? What do I want to feel like? What would it feel like if I had my twin flame union? And this can be so important. My husband and I in 2023, this year, as we're coming to the end of 2023, we were reviewing this year and we had some of our bigger patterns come up. They were ancestral. They were familiar to us, but also many generations of people have gone through the initiations that we've gone through. So what I would like to share about that is this year has been an amazing awakening, and I feel like a full circle, my husband and I coming back together in this upgraded new version of ourselves, new version of the relationship. And it's been so rich, so beautiful, and also quite intense and painful and scary at times. And I feel like that is going to continue for a lot of people. Jack and I tend to go through things a little bit earlier than people. So I feel like next year there might be a breaking down of dogmas, or even like really intense family patterns, blueprints, like matrices. And in that breakdown, it's quite painful. So that's where we want to have a lot of support in our lives. We want to have our whatever it is, breath work, yoga practice, having a morning routine, lighting our candles, connecting to our spiritual aspects, eating really healthy food and water, and taking time for ourselves and following our passions. There's so many things that we can do to support ourselves. And letting go of dogmas or expectations, and instead coming from what feels good. What is my desire? What does my desire with my beloved look like? So Jack and I, we were getting stuck in these heavier patterns, and it's really shifted a lot. In the last few months, we hired about 6 months ago, maybe, we hired a relationship counselor. We're like, we are relationship coaches. We help mainly single people, but we also need to keep expanding on our relationship. And we share a baby, a business, a bed, a home, a real estate business. Like, we have so many different things that we create together, and it's beautiful. It's been my dream to work with my twin flame. I love this, and it's also a little insane sometimes. So we started to do more of the somatic practices that I've been studying in my coursework, my continuing education. And what I've found is that it's really easy to saturate ourselves in the pain body, to just go, oh, woe is me, my partner's not meeting me, or God, she's such a bitch, or why can't she figure me out, or why can't he do this for me, or I'm so mad that we haven't had the intimacy that, my heart craves. I could have had it with my blah, blah, blah. We have all these stories, and that can really sour the energy body. It can sour these can be stuck energies in the body. And so we have to reset by finding the desire. So feel into that right now. If you want to, I invite you to just take a moment to, like, what is your state of desire in your body? What would you like to create? Not a goal. Like that's kind of the old dogma system of like, I want to be traveling with my twin flame around the world and I want to, open a business together and I want to have a nonprofit organization. I want to have like 3 kids and I want to do beautiful, beautiful to have your goals. There's nothing wrong with that. But my invitation for you is to really listen inside your soma, your body, and feel the flavor or the color or the texture of like, and maybe you hear some words or you feel some words like freedom or whatever words come to being. What does your state feel like when you're in a sacred union with your twin flame? When you're in that state with yourself? Maybe you don't even want to go beyond the self. Maybe you're like, surprise me. If that person comes in, great. If the relationship I'm in flourishes even more, great. But what does the state feel like? So just play with that. And you can even ask, what does the desired state feel like? And let your body show you. So if we had more activity in the chat, I can't see the chats right now because of the way that everything is set up, but I would be reading off of the chats and be like, here's what you're saying. I just want to share that in my body, I felt like a lot of like expansion and breath. My old self would be like multiple ecstatic bliss, sensual pleasure, because that was like part of my old version of myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. And I still celebrate those sexy connections and intimate times. But what I'm really feeling is more authentic. Oh, I am seeing some comments. Woohoo! Thank you for being here, David. Nice to meet you as well. So what's really authentic to me, instead of having this intentional, like eruptive twin flame energy, and we've heard some of the twin flame gurus say twin flame sexuality is so fiery. It's hot all the time. It's amazing. And Jack and I have said, not true. It's human and it's 5D, 6D. And we can have everything in between, and we can have periods where we're feeling very asexual. We can feel old traumas coming up. We can feel deep heart connections. We can have times where our heart is really shut down. And I think to have an escape and fantasy to dissociate from, childhood trauma and pain, it would be very convincing to sell someone like, oh, you have this amazing sexual energy all the time and it's rainbows and butterflies. And no, that's really not what I see people buying anymore in 2024. I feel like people are more ready for like real love. They're wanting vulnerability, connection. I'm seeing in my clients and my fans and friends, almost like they're wanting to find love in their most vulnerable, stripped away parts, the parts of them that have been stomped on, the parts of them that they even they would have abandoned, those pieces that just feel completely worthless. I feel like that's the direction of energy that we're going in with twin flames, and that when there's desire and releasing of dogma, we're not like, how do I get love from you? And like, how do I sign up? I want to sign up for a love coaching program that will get me to the place where I'm in an enlightened relationship. It's much more like, wow, I've been leaving myself behind. I've been hurting. I've been feeling lonely. I don't feel like I fit in the world. I feel like my hair is too frizzy, or, my body part is too small or too big or whatever. And I don't want to be creating a marriage, a sacred union, a connection out of hiding the fact that I'm really scared that I'm not lovable. I want that part to be loved. So I feel a lot of excitement in myself for 2024. I do feel like the twin flame market is going to be, because of what happened with the exposure of twin flames, escaping twin flames gurus. I don't want to mention names, but I feel like there's a lot of skepticism. I feel like a lot of people are feeling that twin flames are like this cray thing that is just like a lost cause at this point. I personally, like, again, I've had the first channel on YouTube exclusive to Twin Flames. I've been in this arena since 2012. So a decade, and I've worked as a love coach for longer than that. I am thinking of completely changing brands and niches because the twin flame topic has gotten so misconstrued and toxic. And I wonder if it's even helpful to tell people that they should have this kind of relationship and label it in this kind of way. Or, when people label themselves as twin flames, are they being like supremacists, relationship supremacists? So I'm just kind of going with what's coming through my heart. So it's interesting. I may completely, like, our LLC is called Twin Flames International. We've had Twin Flames as our brand. It is what helped us completely, skyrocket from having a business that I made on $200, a website that, was like handmade by an artist friend of mine, to like within a couple of years having a the multiple six-figure business, because this topic was so hot and so spicy with all of the emotionality to it. And really, I think a lot of women and men resonated with me and my story because they too went through so much intense pain and trauma. And I think that the big thing that I hope, even like if this were to be my last twin flame video, I don't know that it will be. I don't think it could ever end, but I would like to just really emphasize that it was never my intention to tell anyone that this is a twin flame, that you should be this. My whole story and my background, if you followed my work, is that I thought that this one person was my twin flame because that's what I thought twin flames were. It put me in a state of very severe depression, confusion. I felt like I'd messed up my whole life because he didn't want to be with me. I waited for him for literally 5 years. I had met my new partner, a partner who was very wholesome, very healthy, very healing. And I still almost went for the toxic love because that was what a twin flame was, according to some gurus and teachers and things like that. And so my story and what I've been sharing for the last decade is don't go for toxic love, period. If it's called twin flame love, if it's called sacred love, it's not healthy. Go for what is healthy inside. And I have been grateful to have the opportunity to share that journey with you. And it's a little bit heartbreaking. I have to share, it's a little bit heartbreaking that the more I have gotten authentic with myself, authentic with my heart, and have taken off, the phrase of like rose-colored glasses, but almost like the rose-colored YouTube screen where, like, instead of being like, oh my God, Jack and I are so great all the time, and we've been more like, we have a baby that has kept us up all night, or, like we're in a fight right now, or maybe that's my story and something to look at. And maybe that's something that's going to be coming more in 2024, is really people saying, yes, I stand for twin flames. I consider myself to be, and I don't even exactly know what I mean. I know that I've had these 5D experiences. I've known that the day Jack proposed to me, and I didn't know he was going to propose later in the day, but the morning, like 5 a.m., I had this incredible dream where I was shown our family crest as symbol of our twin flame energy. And I was shown that we are twin flames. And it was like such an incredible kind of prophetic dream. And there was Atlantean tsunamis, there was death, ascension, there was his right arm, my left arm, the symbol of the rose, and two other beautiful symbols that represent the feminine and the masculine that I never would ever be able to conceptualize, but it was like so clear as day. So I do believe in twin flames. I also think we'll never have it figured out. So I think that that's really part of this theme of flexibility and flow, of like understanding we'll never need to force the mystery. We can just be with the mystery and explore it. So I think the inner guru in us is like, we need to take control. We need to know what twin flames are. And I'm like, I know I'm with my husband. we're committed to making things work. I know that we have this divine sacred love, and we also have times where, we want to stab each other with an ice pick. Like, let's get real. Or we're just like want to throw energy daggers at each other. We try not to do it because it doesn't. We've learned that it only makes things worse, and that's not the Christed energy. So that's the third piece here. The prediction that I have for 2024 is I feel like a massive solar flare type of energy coming, awakening and cracking open the Christ forced energy within us. And I won't say within the twin flames, but within our own feminine and masculine, and within the people on this planet who are here to awaken, who are committed to that awakening. And maybe some of them aren't really committed yet, who are at this time that I'm sharing, but by 6 months from now, they're like, cha-ching, I'm here. So let's make a prayer for those people. Maybe even people that are struggling with really heavy things right now: addiction, addiction to workaholism, addiction to food, addiction to drugs, addiction to anything. Like, there are a lot of people on this planet that have a ton of potential, and yet they're buried in this layer, this toxic layer. A lot of those people are healers, empaths, clairvoyants, claircognizant, clairsentient, the clairies are powerful beings, and they have that Christ force energy, but it's just been distorted and they haven't gotten it. I've been there. Haven't you been there? Were you born completely awake? No, I'm still not there. I still have days where I just have these idiot thoughts, or I judge people, or I feel not good enough. And I'm like, what am I doing? Just because I don't have XYZ ducks lined up doesn't mean I'm any less than the person that does have those ducks lined up. Like, our thoughts are so interesting. So I feel like this Christ force energy, I feel it's going to be picking up over the next few years, but I feel it really kicking off in 2024, and it's going to feel a little crazy. Like, did that just happen? Did I just meet someone from my soul family? Can I believe this? Like, and there are going to be maybe some like false prophets or false synchronicities where you're like, oh my God, I met this soul family member, and they're part of my tribe, and we're going to set up a business together, and then it just like fizzles, and you're like, I can't trust the universe anymore. But it's not that it failed, it's that the energies were there, the Christ force energy, the 5, 6, 7D, the higher spiritual energies, and we're still like baby stepping into grounding it in 3D. So that's why it's important to have like logistics planned out. Like, the word logistics even has lege, which is like the root origin of that is law. Lege, logi is different, but like I hear that like that legal type of energy, where if you have an agreement with someone in your business, like, get it in writing. If you have a soul family member and you're like, you're amazing, I love you, like, having those discussions of like, here's who I am, here's my wounding, here's what really nurtures me and supports me. I've had these conversations with people that I really start to have a deep bond with. Like, hey, I'm someone that like, I get hurt if you don't text me for a week. I go into a story that I pissed you off, or that, you're not into it anymore. So just text me back, like a heart emoji, anything, just like say like, I'll text you next week, or I've got a lot going on. I don't need a lot, but I just need clarity. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, that's so great that you could share that. Or the ones that get triggered and back away, then I know, they probably shouldn't be my best friend, because of what I need makes them sick to their stomach, and it reopens trauma wounding, unless we really want to work on that relationship together, or unless I'm willing to deal with my own trauma wounding coming up all the time, which I'm really not interested in anymore. It's probably, there's someone better for each of us out there. So I feel like a lot of us have gone through some big wake-up calls, some big global and even maybe galactic understandings of what's going on. And we are not backing down. And that's where the only way out is through. And our hearts, our Christ force energy, our love. What is Christ force energy? It's divine, loving presence. light as well. Light is knowledge, or let's see, I get it mixed up. Light is knowledge, love is wisdom, or the feminine is wisdom. Doesn't matter how you classify it. But basically, Christ force energy to me is like when we're awake and we have our feminine, our masculine turned on. Feminine love aligned with masculine energy or light, FLAME, that is the flame to me. I see the Christ force energy and the flame energy as one thing with two different names. And I feel like my takeaway that I can offer you today to just play on and chew on is like, what if we were to take out the twin aspect of like it being a relationship or it being another person, and instead we step into like twin flame consciousness as that we are twinning or mirroring the world. And that when we see the world as a mirror of ourselves, when we see like, oh my gosh, this horrible stuff happening in the Middle East, the war, Israel, Palestine, like, wow, that's maybe parts of my past self that we're fighting with each other. Like what do they need to know? And sending parts of ourself, love and prayer and hope. And, you know, I hope you stop fighting. I hope you can really find what you're looking for, and whatever feelings that we have, we can take responsibility for. So yeah, the takeaway I hope is that instead of it's gotta fit into like this relationship with this person, you know, I had that pressure. I'm grateful that I did conceive our child with my lifelong partner. That's so beautiful. And I also don't judge if people end up being, you know, in polyamorous relationships, or they're serial monogamous, but they're holding the twin flame love energy, or they're, you know, two moms, or they're two moms and a dad, like, or there's so many different forms of love, you know, even honoring the sacredness of the sacred no of divorce or letting something go. As long as we bring in that Christ force energy, twin flame love prevails. So I will be interested to know what y'all think. I'll be looking at the comments. I'm glad that you feel like this is fascinating, David. It's been a journey, you know, this little bit of an ego blow for me over these last years, being like the #1 twin flame channel on YouTube to being squashed down to having like 100 views on videos. But I think that really plays into the 2024 forecast, is we're coming from here and not from out here, not forcing it, you know, not forcing there to be some heaven on earth right now out there, but just owning that I can take charge of inside. And even if I can't change it right away, I can hold it and love it and be with it. And that's Twin Flame Ninja Mastery. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. This has been a beautiful journey for me to share, and it's exactly 33 minutes that I've been on. Jack and I were married on 3/3 at 3:33 p.m. and I have a long history, and my birth number, whatever it's, yeah, my number is 33. So I'll be closing this video up at 33:33 in just another few seconds. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe, stop by soon. Namaste. Twin flame blessings for an incredible 2024.